little bit about that and how that work has evolved since you started the financial clinic?
Sure. So the financial clinic is a nonprofit financial development firm, and we combine on the front end financial education with coaching and counseling and planning and legal services on personal financial issues on the back end. We think of our financial education services in the same vein as whether it's like our tax preparation services. We've also started we have a new program in which we're preparing FAFSA applications as almost kind of like the loss leader. And that's what's intended to get people in the door, come to a workshop about credit reports, or come even get your credit report downloaded. Our mission is that of financial security. Our intent is to help working poor people in New York City improve their financial security, and we measure that in 5 very specific ways: increased savings, lower use of fringe banking services, and increased use of mainstream services, an improved credit score, an improved debt-to-income ratio, and using a portion of your tax refund for a financial goal. And to be able to really track that on a day-in and day-out basis to see whether we're accomplishing mission, we really need to be able to work with our customers over time. So financial education, we think, is really helpful for getting people in the door, but it, to us, in terms of our mission, measures inputs and outputs rather than really measuring outcomes or preferably impact. And then for about maybe 10 or 15% of our customers approximately, we're also providing a range of legal services on consumer credit issues. Tax is particularly large, especially given our free tax preparation services. We're also doing bankruptcies and a handful of foreclosures, and benefits work. So legal issues as they relate to our customers' personal financial issues. And that's
Thank you. Good. So now we worked our way down into, this is my plan, I don't know if it's working, but Michael's now going to talk to us about the investing workshops and courses that you offer, which is a little more advanced than I think what the average financial education program is.
I think you're absolutely right. And I come from a very different world than my 3 colleagues on the panel tonight, because I'm not directly focused on not-for-profit and low-mod income, because I work for a bank, and we are a bank, and we are first and foremost in business to be a bank and be profitable as an institution.
We'll let you stay on the panel nonetheless.
Absolutely. But we do have a real commitment at Signature Bank to a community development program, even though it's really at the opposite end of the spectrum of what we are as an institution. I would venture to say, by a show of hands, how many people tonight had ever heard of Signature prior to tonight? Okay, I would say that's even more than I expected, because we're essentially a private client boutique institution that deals with mid-range and high-range businesses. When we deal with a lot of the music industry, the rock and roll industry, we deal with a lot of the actors and actresses, Broadway, and then companies, large companies around the country in the New York marketplace. Nonetheless, we have a community development department and community development effort, which I head up. And within that department, we had been looking for an opportunity to offer financial education, doing something that's unique and different that none of the other institutions offer. So we immediately ruled out a first-time home buyers program, because everybody and their brother has that program. And we came up with the idea of a first-time investors program. And we could use that because we had that expertise in-house in the bank, because we have a securities division. And how could we use that securities division to bring services or education to a level of clientele that would not typically deal with Signature Bank or would not typically deal in the investment marketplace. And we created this program. We did it about 7 years ago. We've had over 200 people participate in it. And basically what happens is people commit people who are participants typically have gone through other levels of financial education, which all of you folks supply. And I will tell you that that's critical to the success of our program, because we've done it both ways, and we see the outcomes with the participants. So I couldn't do it without you, and I thank you for that. What these people commit to is a 9-week course in which they commit $750 of their own money. And they put this money up, and they then come and they start with a class on stocks, a class on bonds. We go into mutual funds. We talk about insurance as a vehicle for savings, which people don't normally think of. When they think of savings, they think of asset accumulation, but not only is savings, but savings can be how you can save yourself from having expenses, not only for yourself, but your family, and being prepared for crises in life. Not only yourself, but with our parents living longer, grandparents living longer, we, the children, become responsible for their well-being, much like they were responsible for ours when we were younger. So we do insurance, we do a session on the general economic climate. At the conclusion, and everybody in the class gets a Wall Street Journal subscription. And we do a class on how to use the journal as a tool over time, how to read the journal. At the conclusion of the class, the bank matches their participation, their $750 commitment. The bank gives each participant $750. And they then have an account with $1,500 in it, and the bank assigns an individual broker to every client in the class. And they get 2 years of free advice to work with that broker, and all trade transactions are free of charge. So they don't pay for making trades, and they can call this broker however frequently or infrequently, as Robin knows. There's Robin. As Robin knows, as frequently or as infrequently as they like, and they can develop a portfolio. And essentially they're starting with 100% gain on their portfolio.
So they get kind of an IDA, a matched investing.
Right,
pool.
exactly.
So you will work with community groups on the ground to provide services.
Correct.
That's how you
I will attract my clients by partnering with credit where credit is due, by partnering with Bridge Street Development Corporation, with partnering with Community Capital Resources in Westchester, because those are the groups that have already taken their clients through basic financial education. We tried this, I tried this about 5 years ago with Axiom clients, and I know there's some people here from Axiom. And what we found was that they just weren't ready for it. They weren't ready to make the commitment. They weren't ready to focus. This is not, what we try to impress on people, that this is not a game or a get-rich-quick kind of thing. This takes work. And what we try to give them over the 8 or 9 weeks of classes is the tools, as to steal the Sims commercial line. We try to make them an educated consumer. We want to make them have knowledge of the basic concepts, the basic terminology, so they can hold an intelligent conversation with their broker and ask the right questions and not feel intimidated by that exchange with somebody sitting there in a suit and tie who deals with high net worth people.
Okay. Just, thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah. So we have about 20-25